Hello and welcome to the Culture Swally, a podcast dedicated to Scottish news and pop culture. My name is Nicky, and I'm joined, as always, by the man who's just finished reading Lionel Richie's Wardrobe by J.R. Hartley. It's Greg. How are you today, buddy?
I'm okay. I'm rather than sitting in my little home studio, I'm sitting on the end of my bed because, as I mentioned earlier, the Wi-Fi in my office is not working, so I'm having to kind of MacGyver it. So I've got the chair. I've got a big thick book, which is actually a compendium of the Marvel Transformers comics that I bought not that long ago. I've got the laptop, I've got my daughter's desk chair, I've got the laptop perched on top of the Transformers volume, I'm sitting on the edge of my bed, I'm holding the microphone like Alan Shearer with his big red head at halftime when England played the Congo last week and you thought they were going to get put out holding the microphone. But I'm looking forward to talking about our film after the news. I have to be honest. I really enjoyed it.
I was thinking you do look like a young John Motson or something, sat there, the way you're holding the microphone and I'm looking at you, the way the camera is. And then I thought, well, no, it's more like we've been seeing at the World Cup, cutting to someone.
Yeah.
And I was going to say more James McFadden, but I was like, well, no, obviously, more hair.
Yeah.
But then you said Alan Shearer, and then I noticed the top you're wearing. And I was like, oh, well, yeah, you are wearing kind of the colours of England.
I suppose I am, actually.
I guess, yeah. So, yeah.
Trojan t-shirt.
Never mind. But yeah, at least you're here. You're here. That's the main thing. How are you today, buddy? All good?
Yeah, I'm not bad. I was in the other day. I don't imagine there is a lot of call for these in Amsterdam, or certainly not in the city centre, because I know a lot of people go on their bikes. There's a lot of pedestrianised areas and stuff. But have you seen those Tesla sort of Cybertruck thing?
I have seen one somewhere. I think I've seen one in Amsterdam. I definitely saw one in Dubai.
Yeah, there's loads in Dubai.
But yeah, so I have seen one in Amsterdam. But no, there's not a call or a need for here. I mean, most of the Teslas here have got stickers on them that say, I bought this before Elon went crazy.
Oh, really?
Just to stop people vandalising. But yes, I'm familiar with the Tesla trucks.
No, I mean, it will come as no surprise to you that there is quite a lot of them in Dubai, and they don't have stickers on them, because I don't think anybody really thinks that I don't think many people who live here really think that Elon Musk has gone crazy. They probably align with his newly found right-wing tendencies. But yeah, I didn't travel in one, but somebody was letting me have a look inside their one the other day. So I got a chance to have a really good up close look at it. And I don't understand. I just don't get why you'd want to have one. Because the person who showed me it is a bit of a wanker, right? And I already assumed that they were exclusively driven by wankers just because they're so ostentatious. And it's almost like these guys wake up in the morning and think, don't think it's obvious enough to people that I'm an absolute wanker. Well, how can I really emphasize just what a wanker I am without having to meet anybody? And so then they go down to the Tesla dealership and probably plunge themselves into hideous amounts of debt to drive around in these fucking horrible silver jaggy abortions. Honestly, they're horrible. I just don't get the attraction whatsoever.
It does look like I haven't seen inside one. Now I think about it, like, so I've no idea what it looks like. Now I'm thinking it could be a bit futuristic.
It is quite futuristic inside, yeah.
I'd imagine it's like it's almost like, in my head, it's like getting inside Ed 209, but the interior is like a big kit interior. You know, that type of thing. If I can have a little bit of a RoboCop kind of and Knight Rider mashup there. But yeah, no, horrible things.
It's like they've taken a bit of inspiration from like in the film Aliens, the sort of ground carry thing that I think there's a scene in Aliens where they have to escape from the aliens in the sort of car. So it's got shades of that. It's sort of shades of like Otto. I don't know if you might be a bit too young for Automan. Shades of Automan's car and sort of RoboCop-y But they're just fucking...
Is it like Starbug in Red Dwarf?
I think Starbug is more... Starbug's the kind of green... is the green one, right? Yeah. I think Starbug's a bit more tastefully designed, I would say, than this fucking hideous thing. I just don't see it. I mean, of all the things you could drive around in, it's not practical at all. It's not like, because sometimes you look at people who drive these big sort of Ram flatbed trucks. They're usually wankers as well, but at least those Ram trucks, you can see what they could be used for. You can move a lot of things around in them. You can go off road. If you're so inclined, or if you live here in the desert, you can take it up and down dunes and no doubt get stuck in the sand because it's too heavy. But yeah, this Tesla Cybertruck exists solely for people to show off. Yeah. That's the only purpose it can serve. So there goes another potential sponsor. It's a political statement there from the Culture Swally. See, this is what happens when we can't talk about the World Cup. Never mind. Okay, right. Shall we go and have a look at what's been happening in Scotland this week, buddy? Cue the jingle.
Hello, this is the Outer Hebrides Broadcasting Corporation, and here is what's been going on in the news.
Okay, Greg, what have you seen in Scotland this week you'd like to share with me and our lovely listeners?
Well, this first story comes from the Scottish Sun, and it really made me laugh because it's something that I've definitely done and definitely do and will definitely do again. The headline is "Wheelie Brazen. Moment Scots councillor sparks fury by joining meeting remotely whilst driving." This is the moment a brazen Scots councillor sparked outrage when he joined a full council meeting while driving his car. North Ayrshire councillor Jim Montgomery tuned into the meeting remotely and could clearly be seen behind the wheel of his car. Councillor Montgomery, who is the Labour representative for Saltcoats and Stevenson, had initially been at home on the screen. However, 2.5 hours into the meeting, 2.5 hours, fuck me, no wonder, which was streamed live online, the councillor appeared from inside his car, with his phone seemingly somehow perched up below the steering wheel. The bold move prompted head shakes and some laughter, before questions from concerned colleagues. Council leader Tony Gurney interrupted the meeting to suggest Councillor Montgomery wouldn't be able to affect the meeting whilst trying to concentrate on the road. He said, "We allow people to attend remotely on the basis that they concentrate on the proceedings of the council, and I do wonder whether being on the road and having to concentrate on driving would perhaps mar that in any respect." North Ayrshire Provost Anthea Dixon warned the councillor he could be prosecuted by the police. She said, "I don't want to be seen to be encouraging this when you are not supposed to use your mobile phone and we get prosecuted by the police." Undeterred, Councillor Montgomery insisted he was perfectly safe to drive and attend the meeting remotely, saying, "It's hands-free." But Provost Dixon told him to disconnect and rejoin when he had stopped driving. She added, "I know it's hands-free, but I feel most uncomfortable endorsing this. I would prefer you rejoin once you're in a location and stable and not driving." But the Labour leader councillor stubbornly replied, "I'm stable just now and I'm staying online." Councillor Gurney said, "Provost, I'm not entirely sure that I'm happy with that answer. We are on questions now, but we will shortly be on motions, and I do wonder whether that is appropriate." Provost Dixon said, "I think we have given our warning and our suggestion to the member, and his actions will stand for himself." Councillor Montgomery said, "Thank you, Provost," prompting a frosty response from her replying, "I don't know what you're thanking me for." While the DVLA states that it is not strictly legal to be in a video call while driving, it does state that if police stop a driver and deem that they are distracted, they can prosecute. The DVLA says you must stay in full control of your vehicle at all times. The police can stop you if they think that you're not in control because you're distracted, and you can be prosecuted. Now, I'm going to stand in Councillor Montgomery's defence, because if I had to be in a Teams call for 2.5 hours, my concentration would be drifting significantly. As far as I can tell, the only mistake he's made is turning his camera on. He's maybe just nipped out for a pint of milk or something.
Yeah, that's the only mistake he's made. He shouldn't be driving really whilst on the call, I would say. I would say that's very much a grey area. But in terms of going about this business, if it's a call that length, you're not needed for every moment of that call. So, yeah, I think it's fair enough. Like, I don't see what the fuss is about, but maybe, well, it's because he was driving. And
Well,
it
exactly.
shouldn't be, because his full concentration should be on the road, not on the Teams call.
But he wouldn't have been listening at the Teams call anyway, probably, because it's a council meeting that had been on for 2.5 hours already, and it sounds like from the somewhat prickly responses from his fellow councillors that there was a good chunk more to go. You know, the thing is, right, before the pandemic, I could probably count on one hand the amount of work, like video calls I was on. And now, I mean, I prefer, if I've got to be in a meeting, I prefer to be in the room, to be quite honest. I don't really like, especially if it's going to be a long meeting, I kind of need to be in the room because I don't have the concentration. If I'm sitting at home and I've got all my lovely things around me and, you know, snacks in the cupboard and lovely things to drink in the fridge and stuff, not booze, you know, I'm not going to be concentrating. I'm going to be online looking for stories for the podcast and or, you know, doing a bit of shopping or whatever. You're not going to have my full engagement, put it that way.
No, that was always my key times for looking for news stories for the podcast, usually when I was on a Teams call or a meeting, or like the Monday morning team meeting, right? Let's have a look and see what's happened over the weekend, catch up on the news, and that was it.
Yeah.
Not paying any fucking attention. So yeah, of course.
I have to say, one of the worst feelings is when you've been on a call for a little while, you're completely tuned out of it, and then you hear somebody say your name. Yeah. And ask you a question, and you've got no idea what they've been talking about for the last sort of 10 or 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Well, I've usually got a couple of excuses ready, one of which is, sorry, I was having some problems with my connection there. I just managed to get back on. Can you just refresh me?
Yeah.
That usually works. Or you can always just log off for a few minutes and then log back in and say, sorry, my connection went down there. I'm struggling to get back in the call. It seems to be okay now. There's ways and means.
There we go.
There you go.
Top tips from Greg there. There we go.
Yeah.
That's for our business podcast. We'll be launching soon.
Anyway, that's my first story this week. I wonder if Councillor Montgomery will be getting voted in for his next... I don't know how. I'm not sure how council elections work. How long you serve for?
Don't know.
I think you serve until someone has a look at your hard drive, or you get found out doing something you shouldn't be doing. Anyway, that's my first story. What's your first story this week?
My first story is from the Scottish Sun this week, Greg, and the headline is "Busted. Horrified Scots restaurant boss blasts punter caught taking a poo on CCTV outside his venue." I mean, we've had stories like this before.
Yeah.
It's 2026. Just wait. A Scottish restaurant owner has called out a group of punters caught on CCTV allegedly using the front entrance of his venue as a toilet. The incident was recorded at the Caddy Man restaurant near Jedburgh in the Scottish borders, and it shows a man and a woman shielding the scene whilst a younger man squats down holding toilet paper. Restaurateur Ross Horrock's video has received over 2.9 million views since he posted it on social media. You imagine that? I mean, this article is like a week old. Yeah. By the time this podcast comes out, there's probably about over 15 million people that have watched the video. I've watched some wee boy having a shite. Anyway, he said, "Well, never thought we'd have to explain this, but please know our front door is not a toilet. Toilets are usually made of porcelain and have their own enclosed room inside. Luckily, these lovely people noticed our cameras before doing their business and moved on. But if you see them around before we do, please can you try explaining the concept of modern day living in toilets to them." The video shared last week sent shockwaves through social media. One person said, "I'm still trying to work out why, how, what? My mind's blown." Another person added, "Even if there weren't any cameras, why on earth would you decide to do it at a front door?" A third person said, "Why there? There are bushes over..." Why there? There are bushes over the way. Why pick the doorway of all places? That's going to have a shite in the bushes. Fucking brilliant. I don't get this last one. Another person added, what is this? The starting point of the Boston Marathon. I don't get that.
I don't know.
Do people famously poo at the start of the Boston thing? I don't know. Or is it a football thing? I don't know. Anyway, it looks like a couple. I mean, it looks like their teenage son. He looks maybe about 13, and they're trying to protect him from having a shite, and then he notices the camera, and they go on their merry way. So go and find somewhere else, I guess, to go and have a shit. So yeah. And yeah, 2026. And it's just a house. Just go up to the door. There's literally bushes across the street, that you could easily hide.
Was it a little kid, or was it like a young man?
He looks it's difficult to tell. He looks about 13, 14.
I mean, that's too old.
It's too old. Like, surely. It's too old. Too old. No, Greg, if it was like a 3-year-old boy, I wouldn't be saying the news story. I'd be saying, young child has accident. Oh, well, okay, fair enough. Well, maybe, actually, I'd be saying, why the fuck is this news? But part of me is saying, why is this in my newspaper?
Yeah.
And it is the Sun, I guess. But the other part of me is like, why? Why is this going on in 2026? Is this his mum and dad? I'm fascinated by this story. I want to know more. I really want to know what the outcome of this is. Anyway, yeah, horrified Scott's boss, yeah. Maybe it was just a little prank to promote his restaurant. Who knows? But someone taking a shit at his door. Anyway.
Disgusting.
And yeah, it's disgusting. So let's move on. What else have you seen this week, buddy?
Just before we move on.
Oh dear.
It sort of reminds me, like when I would have been about 6 or 7. Wait, my mum and I had moved. My mum and dad split up. Mum and I moved to like a new estate where there was lots of different house builders building houses, like Barrett and blah blah blah. And so me and my pals would play on the half-built houses, and there was always that sort of fear when you were out on a weekday night that if you had to go in for any reason, you might not be allowed to go back out again, right? So there's definitely a few houses in Rob Royston on the Glendale estate that me and my associates definitely shat in the foundations of when we were playing, because we didn't want to go home in case our mums wouldn't let us go back out again.
It's like your early rat catcher moment.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they were just, like, I'm sure there were probably more like houses that were a bit further on, but I remember, because you would kind of walk along, they would sort of map out the house, and there would be the sort of dividing bricks and stuff that would divide the rooms, and we'd walk along, and we would try and knock each other off them and stuff. They're not very high. You're only like a couple of feet high and things, but definitely was definitely caught short more than once. It just had to be done when you were wee, but that kid in that story's too old.
He's too old to be out playing and needing a jobby.
and as that commentator points out, there were bushes over the way that he could have gone into.
Okay. Right. What else have you seen, buddy?
Well, this is, I'm curious to know what the future holds here, because I spent a lot of time in this place when I first moved back to Glasgow in the early 2000s. But Glasgow's iconic nightclub, The Garage, is to be sold after 33 years. The iconic venue is going to be put in the market as nighttime venues in the city increasingly struggle. The iconic venue on Sauchiehall Street is owned by Donald MacLeod, MBE, who I did meet once. Well, I didn't meet him. When I went to study in Petrov's book signing event at Parkhead, he was also in attendance. But he says he's decided to bring the cultural institution to the market as he focuses on expanding his interests across the media, promotion and leisure sectors. Commentating on the sale, Donald said, over 3 decades, the Garage has become an important cultural institution. No, it has. Maybe institution, you could maybe leave the word cultural out, fuck me. Indeed, Scotland's live music, grassroots and nightlife scene. Although Duff McKagan did play in the Garage once. I remember. Yeah, I didn't see him play there, but I remember somebody telling me. And it has been an absolute privilege and honour to own and operate such a well-loved venue whose history, energy, location and reputation has placed it on a world stage. Henry, you'll have to write in and tell us if you've ever heard of the Garage in Canada.
You will have, because we've spoken about it. It's been in stuff we've covered.
Oh yeah, maybe. Well, if you've ever heard of it outside of the Culture Swally. As I start to focus on developing other areas of my media, promotion and leisure portfolios, this feels like the right time as we are sitting with a full gig diary to pass the baton to a new owner who, along with their fantastic management team and staff, will help build on this incredible legacy. Estate agents CDLH said they expected strong interest for the landmark venue, which has a reputation that extends far beyond Glasgow, all the way to Aberdeen. The club, which comprises 3 different venues across 4 floors, has a capacity for up to 1,800 revellers. Peter Darrach of CDLH commented, "The Garage is truly a landmark venue with a reputation." Why does he keep saying a reputation that extends far beyond Glasgow? It's the third person to say that. "Opportunities to acquire assets of this stature are rare, and we anticipate strong interest from a range of buyers seeking to build on its established legacy." Resident DJ Nicola Walker told Glasgow Live, "The Garage is an iconic institution, and I've been privileged to work with it for the past 29 years. It's very much business as usual at the Garage, with the club nights and all the upcoming gigs going ahead as planned. I hope the fantastic team will continue under the new owners when they come on board." But yeah, I mean, the Garage is probably where we would go the most, although I have to say, because we were usually there on weeknights, even though I was to been 24, 25, I often felt just a little bit too old, even back then.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I worked in hospitality, like the nights I would be in there might be like a Monday or a Thursday night. You know, I was rarely in there. In fact, the only time I was in there on a Friday or a weekend night was a Friday when I was with our mutual friend and a few of our other mutual friends that came down, and I ended up pulling that girl that when I arranged to meet her a week later, she wasn't quite what I remembered. So
it's like the third time she's been mentioned this year, I think.
I know, it's crazy. But yeah, so of course Monday nights, Thursday nights would be quite studenty. So I always felt just a wee bit too old, but I always liked the music that they played, and it was always a bit of a challenge getting in, because if the bouncers thought that you were even slightly pissed, there was no way they would let you in. You know what I mean? And there was no sort of negotiating with them either. I remember going to the lab straight from work one afternoon. I was wearing like my work stuff, which was like a shirt and tie, and I was pretty hammered. But I was on my own, and I was looking for somebody to continue the night with. So I managed to. You met my friend Stephen, the Irish fella. He came to Barcelona, and he came out with us that night when we went to camp Lowdown. And he came out. They had one drink in the lab. We went to the Garage. They asked him where he'd been. He said, "I've been in a lab." He said, "How much we had to drink?" He said, "I've just had a pint of Guinness." And he said, "No, sorry, mate, you can't come in." But he was going to let me in. He didn't even ask me. And I guess it was because I was dressed fairly smartly. And anyway, we managed to get Stephen in. So I was able to say, look, you know, he was with me. He has only had one drink. We just knocked off work. I'm just, you know, and he was like, "Oh, all right then, I'll let you in." But no bother, right? No. But yeah, I had you in the Garage once or twice, right?
I think, yeah, the only times I was in the Garage was with you.
Yeah.
I know once, definitely. I've got a funny feeling I was in a second time as well. But it would definitely been with you. Yeah. Definitely been in twice. I was just laughing to myself so much whilst you were telling the story, because I was trying to think, you know, I was saying, but we've mentioned it on the podcast. And I was like, what is the last thing we had the Garage in? And I was like, oh yeah, it was Man Dancing.
Oh yeah.
And then that led me to think, oh yeah, it was Trevor in the Garage.
Yeah.
Whilst Gavin Mitchell was punting hookers. And oh yeah, and Cosmo owned the Garage. And I was like, it's like a fucking weird Swally fever dream. Of like mental. But oh yeah, I mean, it is it's not a worldwide institution, I wouldn't say, but it's definitely it's definitely a Glasgow institution. I would say it is a Scottish institution, the Garage. Yeah. But it's not I
mean, to be fair to it, I mean, I'm roasting it a bit there, but Prince has played in the Garage. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
So I think Snoop Dogg has played in the Garage back in the mid-90s and things. So yeah, I mean, I am doing it a bit of a disservice. So that's my second story this week. Glasgow institution, known far and wide, the Garage up for sale. What's your next story this week?
Thank you, buddy. Okay, my last story is from the Scottish Sun this week. It's a short story, but I saw it and I thought, what the fuck? So from the Scottish Sun, the headline is Flight Club. Man picked up 2 seagulls before attacking person in Scott Street. A man allegedly grabbed 2 seagulls before attacking a man in the street of a Scots town. The baffling incident is said to have unfolded on Queen's Park Place in Oban on Saturday evening. The man reportedly picked up 2 of the coastal birds before allegedly assaulting someone around 5 p.m. Shocked members of the public alerted police after witnessing the alleged assault happening with the birds in hand. It is understood the man picked up 2 seagulls before the alleged attack. He reportedly still had one of the squawking flyers in his grasp during the alleged attack. Cops drove the man home and then launched a probe into the baffling report. The man was later charged in connection with assault and is due to be reported to the Procurator Fiscal. A Police Scotsman spokesperson said, a man was charged in connection with an assault in Queen's Park Place in Oban around 5 p.m. on Saturday, 27th of June. A report will be submitted to the Procurator Fiscal. It's understood that the birds were not injured after being picked up by the assailant.
So the assailant was lucky he wasn't injured picking up a seagull.
This man has been so angry that he's picked up 2 seagulls and then battered someone. Like, how fucking angry do you have to be? How much of a rage? You ever been in such a rage you've like wanted to smash a plate, or you've wanted to throw something, or you've wanted to just, pick up a rage, pick up a seagull, but 2 seagulls. And then punch someone. You have to be so furious. You have to have been bottling up so much fucking anger for months for that to pop out.
Maybe he thought that picking up a bird would like sort of de-stress him in the way that people find patting their favourite pet, or spending some time at the cat cafe or something helps them calm down. Maybe this guy thought that seagull would dissipate his rage.
Well, we had our friend last episode who had he had to do his driving awareness course with his iguana or something, didn't he?
Oh yeah, that's right. It was a bearded dragon. It wasn't an iguana. Imagine. Iguanas are fucking massive.
I don't know, it's fucking gecko.
It's a bearded dragon.
Oh well. But so yeah, that's it. Guy's just raging.
You wouldn't do that with a seagull in Aberdeen. It would fucking fly away with you, wouldn't it? Try to pick them up.
Yeah, it would.
I've never seen seagulls as big as the seagulls in Aberdeen.
No, they're absolutely huge, absolutely colossal beasts. You just wouldn't want to mess with them. And we get a lot of seagulls here, but they're nothing compared to the ones in Aberdeen.
No,
no. The Aberdeen farm of seagulls would definitely take the Dutch farm.
Yeah,
without a doubt.
Yeah. I mean, I'll never, for as long as I live, forget when me and our mutual friend Brett were walking up Belmont Street one lunchtime and a seagull relieved a Robert Gordon schoolboy of his, whatever he was eating, his sandwich or sausage roll, I can't remember, but he was just minding his own business, walking up the road with his lunch, and it just flew down and took it right out of his hand. He was stunned. Brett and I couldn't believe it. I've never seen anything like it.
I'm sure it was about 6 months ago. My girlfriend excitedly said to me about this article she'd read about this place in Scotland that had insurance on toasties for seagulls. And I was like, we've done that on the podcast like 2 years ago.
That's right, yeah. It was in like St Andrews or somewhere, wasn't it? Or the
I was like, where have you read that? It's like worldwide news now or something. Yeah. It's like, we did that on the podcast a couple of years ago. Yeah. We said it was a great idea. It was like an extra quid for toasty insurance.
Yeah. I know. Well, needs must. I mean, we've had a few stories on the pod about, I think, was it not like shoppers at Berryden, whatever supermarkets they are now, Sainsbury's or whatever, they having to get their shopping in the car as quickly as they could because seagulls were just flying down and piercing the packaging on like their cooked ham and all that sort of stuff.
Just getting dive bombed.
Yeah.
Never mind. Shocking. Seagulls. Scum. Well, no, they're not scum, actually. I don't mind them. They're all right.
I don't mind them either, as long as I don't steal my lunch, you know.
Anyway, that is the random man with 2 seagulls. Have you seen anything else this week, buddy?
It's like a sketch, isn't it? Just a guy just absolutely fizzing with fury. Just the first thing there is two seagulls.
The first thing I thought was when I read it, it's like, well, it is like a Burniston sketch.
Yeah.
You can just imagine, like, either of them, Rab or Ian, being so fizzing, they pick up a seagull and smack the other one. Okay, before we get on to what we're going to be talking about today, let's have a little word from our sponsor.
Are you ready for an early start? Though it will soak you through. Are you ready to say you're sorry and what she means to you?
If you're on the losing end, get up and try again. And when you're ready, go for tenants. It's waiting there for you. It comes tall, it comes cold, a perfect head to top the gold. And when you're ready, go for tenants. It's waiting there for you.
And of course, if you'd like to sponsor the Culture Swally, you can get in touch.
Yeah.
cultureswally@gmail.com. Okay, Greg. So I was a big tease on the last episode, which meant that this week it's your choice. So why don't you tell us what we're going to be talking about today?
Yeah, this week I've gone back to 2007 and a made-for-TV movie that was on Channel 4, written an early collaboration between Irvine Welsh and Dean Cavanagh, who of course would go on to write Crime, which we have reviewed both series of on the Culture Swally, and we're wondering where the fuck the third series is, hoping it comes soon. And it's Wedding Bells, starring a great cast, I have to say, of Shirley Henderson, Michelle Gomez, Juliette Casdo shows up in it. Michael Fassbender, bizarrely, shows up in it, of all people. Kathleen McDermott, Shauna Macdonald, another Swally favourite. And it tells the story of Amanda, Kelly, Rona and Shaz, very bestest girlfriends, in the week leading up to Amanda's wedding to her Welsh fiancé, and the various hijinks that ensue. I had never seen this before, but I do remember. I don't know why I didn't watch it, but I do remember when it was on. I remember seeing adverts for it on Channel 4, and this would have been, I think, just after you moved to Dubai, I think, that it was broadcast. I don't know if it's been shown again since, but I know it was been available on DVD for a long time. Had you seen it before?
No, first time seeing it. I was still in Aberdeen when it aired.
Oh, you were? Okay.
But I don't know why I didn't watch it. That's the thing. I can't remember why or work out. But yeah, I hadn't seen it before, so it was the first time. And it was one of those things that once I started watching it, I was like, I remember seeing the advert for this. And I don't know why I didn't watch it. There must have been something on at the same time when I was recording that, or fuck knows.
I feel like if they had really advertised that it was written by Irvine Welsh, we probably would have both made a real point of watching it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think definitely would have. We definitely would have messaged about it and been spoken about it. So it does seem a bit strange. First I watched it, I mean, it's great. There's an incredible cast. The writing, and it's so wonderful to have, because you don't often get Irvine Welsh doing female characters, especially not on screen, really.
Yeah.
There's a couple of smaller ones. We have, like in the Trainspotting books, there's a couple, like, from female perspective, but there's nothing really in the film. So it's interesting to see if he changes his voice, and he does, but also doesn't, because there's Shirley Henderson's character later on. It's just pure Begbie, but we'll come on to that. But yeah, first time watched it, but I absolutely loved it. It's so good. You know, is it a chick flick? Is it a rom-com? Is it a black comedy? A revenge movie? It's all things with Irvine Welsh as a little bow on top.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to talk about this a little bit later, but I think it's worth mentioning now. So when he writes female characters, almost every female character that he writes is like really sexually active. You know what I mean? Like there's Nikki in Porno, you know, the sort of posh girl who's a spy who gets involved in making the film with Sick Boy and Just Terry and all them. And there's a couple of like sub characters in, I'm trying to think, I think it's Glue, where he introduces the girls towards the end who've just come back from holiday, who go out for a night out with like Rab and Terry, and they meet the singer that's in Glasgow and all that, that's in Edinburgh. You know, so he either has them as being sort of really sexually active and, oh, come on, it's just shagging, or they have been victims of abuse. Like Kelly in Trainspotting, one of those girls in Glue is, she's been a victim of abuse, it turns out. They find out in the chapters that they're in. And I don't know, I think, obviously Irvine Welsh is one of my absolute favourite authors and has been for like my whole adult life, certainly. But I think if he's got a bit of a weak spot is that he's not great at writing perhaps more realistic female characters. It kind of doesn't matter in this because the four leads, Michelle Gomez, Shirley Henderson, Shauna Macdonald, and Kathleen McDermott, are all absolutely brilliant. And, when they're together, they're brilliant. The scenes with their characters, when they're by themselves with other characters, especially Shirley Henderson, are so funny. The sentence, "Have you got it on tape, the rape?" will never not make me laugh, even though, it's not really... It's gallows humour, but yeah, she's got a couple of absolutely brilliant lines, which I think are probably just a little bit on the wrong side of acceptability through a 2026 prism. But 19 years ago, sensibilities were somewhat different.
I have a list of my favourite lines from this, which we'll do later.
Yeah.
We'll build up to it because, a lot of them aren't acceptable to say. So we'll just get them all done in one section, which might make editing easier if I decide.
Just need to get all the listeners on side first.
It's basically just going to be me reading out our favourite lines, Greg and I laughing for probably about a minute and a half. So, I think you're right. Irvine Welsh is probably writing female characters isn't his forte. And I wrote down, it was funny me seeing this, I made the connection because you have obviously in this, you have Shaz who's having sex with Father Henry. But all the sex is, hitting it with a ping pong bat and stuff. And then, like, Amanda and Joshua, when they're having sex, they're dressing up in rodeo costumes and stuff. And I was like, right enough, when Irvine Welsh writes sex, it's always over the top, like feather boa stuff. Like in the Acid House, it's all fucking shite in my moo and stuff like that. There's never really any sex he's writing. Like Mark and Diane is probably the only example I can think of, that is like normal kind of sex.
Yeah.
In T2, it's all fucking pegging and stuff. And I think in Men in Love, he might have written a couple of sex scenes that are okay. But
there's one sex scene in Men in Love when they're recording the porno at the football stadium.
Yes.
Which is fucking disgusting.
Yes.
Rank. And it's so rank that we cannot describe it on this podcast. And I know that we maybe push things a wee bit far sometimes, and the language can be quite fruity, but I can't describe it. You'll never listen to us again if I describe. Just go read the book.
But he definitely puts his all into the sex that he writes. It has to always be over the top and kind of feather boas and stuff. And that's it comes across in this. So that was kind of the link I made. But as you say, he's written the characters, I guess, but they are from a female perspective because they are all very rounded. I didn't at any point be like, I don't believe this character. They're all perfectly believable, strong, independent women living very different lives. And I would happily watch any of them individually. But there's something about all four of them together when they are all bouncing off each other. It's just an absolutely brilliant masterclass in some of those scenes. It's wonderful. And some of the one-liners are just absolutely epic.
Well, I think that's, to go to the other end of the spectrum, I think it's what Irvine Welsh is particularly good at is writing really believable groups of old friends. So you've got the guys in Trainspotting that have been friends for a long time, the sort of core five of Mark, Spud, Simon, Begbie and Tommy. And then you a few others like Matty and Second Prize on the sort of, who I guess, they should really be in there as well. In the books, that is. They don't make it so much to the film. And then in Glue, you've got the four characters in Glue that are really good mates, like Billy Birrell and Carl and Terry, and when you read those books and you recognise some of those friendship dynamics, when they've been friends for a long time, there's, times when you don't get on so well when you're at a certain age for whatever reason, just because, you're growing up and you're doing new things and all that kind of thing. And then that sort of settling into really close friendship as they mature and get older and stuff. And, you know, the writing and the cast really sell us the fact that these four girls have been really good friends for a really, really long time. Despite the fact, you know, I think Michelle Gomez and Shirley Henderson they're probably like a wee bit older than the other two in that sense, but it doesn't really matter so much because you do feel like they've known each other for a long time and been through a lot together.
Oh, completely. And the scenes where they are interacting and they're chatting, like the scene when they're in the pub and they're speaking about Tommy Jordan.
He's a buffy then.
You think he's gay because he got raped?
My uncle Tommy got raped to some Somali sailors once. Tommy Jordan got bumped? Aye. Christ. Tommy Jordan was a hard man, he was a big bastard, no? What the family knew about it for years, like. They kept it quiet.
Oh well, it's not something you go shouting about, is it? Be a fella.
I ken Somalians are wee people.
There were 5 of them.
Fair enough.
What happened?
Well, he liked to dress up in lassies' clothes and that, eh? Hang about down the docks. Tommy Jordan was a tranny!
It's such a ridiculous conversation, but it's like you're sat there at that table watching it happen. Like, it's such a, you're right. You believe that these women have known each other for years and they're reminiscing about the past. And then one of them's just realized, what? He never did that, did he? Oh my God, I never knew that after all these years. You're finding out this at the same time with them.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's such a fucking great scene. But yeah, it is the relationship. And you're completely right. Welsh does write that extremely well. You're right back in it. If I think about, you know, when we did the kind of look back at Trainspotting recently, I watched T2 straight afterwards, and you're just sat right back in with Renton and Sick Boy, and you really just completely believe that they haven't seen each other for all this time, but then they're sat on the sofa together watching YouTube videos. Just like nothing's happened.
Yeah.
And that's what would happen in real life. That's the kind of thing. And it's so well done, I think. It's, he's a master at writing stuff like that.
My favourite book of his, I think, the one that, I mean, I've read Trainspotting about 1 million. I mean, I've read almost all of his books more than 3 or 4 times at a minimum. But the one that I go back to fairly regularly is Glue. And, you know, it's for me, it might be his best book because of it's you know, he charts about 25 years in the lives of these 4 friends, starting from them being wee boys and young teenagers right up to being sort of middle-aged men almost, and what they go through. And, you know, in I don't want to ruin it, but it's an old book. Something happens to one of the friends that one of the other friends is sort of directly responsible, or indirectly responsible for, I should say. And every time I read it, it's kind of heartbreaking. You know what I mean? But it's also like really, really funny, as a lot of his books often are. And there's so much humour in this. It's a dramatic book, and the characters. Sorry, it's a dramatic film, I should say, and the characters have all had some fairly tough things happen to them to one extent or the other. But, you know, the humour, and it is dyed-in-the-wool gallows humour. You know what I mean? I mean, watching it now, and I hadn't seen it before, and obviously, you know, we're 19 years on, and I'm just like, fucking hell, I can't believe... I mean, the amount of, like, C-bombs that are dropped in this. This is on Channel 4. And I know Channel 4's always push the envelope and stuff, but this is like free television. It's not like Sky or something like that, and it's just on the telly. And, you know, it's like there's some of the humour in it, just like, and it's such a cliche thing to say, but it's true. There's no way I think would something like that get commissioned now.
No, I think even the level of there's a lot of derogatory terms for the mentally handicapped. Yeah. I don't even know if that's a derogatory term right now. There's so many, it almost, you know, it's like every time you're referring to someone that way, Irvine Welsh just thought, no, I've used that one. I need to put another one in because I need to show how many versions I know. But there's so many that it just wouldn't get commissioned today at all. No way. There's so many things that this is not. That's just that. Before you even get to getting bumped by a dog.
And there's something about the timbre, I think is the right word, of Shirley Henderson's voice that just makes it, get away from me, you raj bastard. I mean, she is phenomenal in this. She really is. I mean, she steals the show.
I mean, where do you want to start? Shall we just go cast? But let's speak about the four individually then.
Yeah.
Let's start with Shirley Henderson, just giving an absolute stellar performance, as you just said. And it's so lovely. Like, the last thing we saw her in most recently was I Swear, where, she plays a kind of role you would be like, oh yeah. When you read like Shirley Henderson, oh yeah, okay, yeah, Shirley, that's fine, that makes sense. But when you see her in this is Shirley Henderson as well. Yeah. Not once was I shocked, or it wasn't until I sat down to think about her performance, I was like, actually, that's mental that she's done that. And it's like she's just been let off the leash. And she's fucking phenomenal.
I know, like, when you compare like this performance to I Swear, and and we've also had her on another couple of things over the last year or so. We had her in Wilbur Wants to Kill Himself, again with Jamie Sives, and American Cousins, where she plays the love interest. And, she's as comfortable playing, I suppose, a comparatively straight kind of character. Nice woman, object of affection and desire, as she is playing these really eccentric, sort of wild cabbie. I don't think I've ever seen her play such a... Maybe Moaning Myrtle in Harry Potter is probably the only other performance I can think of where she's so dialed up,
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever seen anything with her. I mean, she does turn it on. Like, it's a heartbreaking, the story about her dad and the abuse that she suffered, and she murdered her own father, but still, you're kind of, the way she's telling the story, you can't help but kind of laugh in a way. But the scene that I think sums up, like, just mental, is when they're dancing to, I mean, we'll come on to the soundtrack later, but to take some of the songs, I was like, oh my God. But yeah, dancing to Gossip, standing in the way of control, and she's drinking pints and spitting it out, and then there's the whole snuff scene. It's just like, what the fuck? It's just, cutting the hair, the entirety of her and Jamie Sives scene. I was absolutely in love with. She's just an absolute treasure in this. She's so good. Just some of the one-liners she has. It's just, when she's speaking to the Michael Fassbender's mate, what was his name? Splash. Yeah. And, she's just saying, oh, my pal's uncle got bummed by some Somalians. And you're like, what the fuck?
I mean, she does have another line she can't really repeat, but she says it when she's talking about the horrendous abuse that she suffered at the hands of her father. And it's supposed to be a funny line, because it's supposed to be her character. There is no way that you would get, and I know you'll cut this out, but I have to say it because we're talking about it, is that for my 7th birthday, all I got was a Barbie.
Started when I was 7. 7th birthday party. He was there, eh? He took me upstairs. Said he had a surprise for me. Fucking right, he had a surprise. I'll never forget that birthday. I got a Barbie and a big hairy coat. So sorry, Ken.
But just an incredible performance. The commitment when she's cutting the hair, and she just is just adamant that she's meant to be there. She's going to do the job. But yeah, she'll do it, but she just makes an absolute fucking pig's ear of it. The defiance of her, just, you never know what she's going to do next. And, the dream sequence where she kills her mother, and, you're kind of like, was that? Oh, right, it was a dream, but okay, she really wants to do it. And yeah, you're just kind of, she's kind of mysterious at the same time as you kind of know what's going on, but you don't know what's going on as well. It's a mesmerising performance from Henderson.
But you come to understand, like, I think her development as a character is, she's kind of got the most story, I think, to the other three, you know, in terms of what we find out about her as, especially in the last act, you know, how she, you know, what we find out about her and why she's the way she is and why she hates her mum, and the thing, you know, how her brother is actually her son, and they all knew that was the case, but they didn't know that he was also her brother, because she'd been made pregnant by her father's abuse, you know. So like her, and the only thing that I think I would have liked to have seen is maybe a bit more of a happy ending for her, you know, but you kind of want a bit of a happy ending for all of them, but yeah. Especially Kelly, because she's the one that's been through the shittiest time.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there are parts, it's really just after she's found out that Shaz is shagging the priest. Well, not shagging, but, you know, sleeping with the priest. And she sat there having a go at her, and it is just pure Begbie. The words, the performance, it's just it is Shirley Henderson. If you just put a moustache and put her in a Pringle jumper, it would be a perfect just impression, you know, fucking priest, eh? Like, you know, you're no fucking doing that, eh? Like, you know, I think there's one point, when she says, like, he'll be in amongst those rent boys, eh? It could have given you fucking AIDS. It's exactly like Begbie. And it's wonderful to see her channeling that, and just it's amazing. Not at any point did I think, oh, she's doing a Begbie. I loved it. I was here for it because it was so fitting with the character, and it was so wonderful to see Shirley Henderson do that.
Yeah,
just brilliant.
Yep. And I suppose the main lead would be Michelle Gomez.
Yes,
because, you know, as it's this, the story is the kind of build up to her dream wedding. She's had bad relationship in the past. She's got Kelly doing her her community service at the clinic for manically depressed people. And you know, we find out she's quite a successful business lady with her salon rather, and she's in love with Taffy. She has to La Vista Taffy, you know, or Biggles as Kelly calls him, which really made me laugh. You know, and she, you know, but you find out the reason that she likes him so much is because she feels that he's honest with her. He doesn't drink, doesn't do drugs. You know, she's had her heart broken before by Michael Fassbender's character, whose name I've completely forgotten. Promised he would be Benji, who ended up back in jail after promising.
Or Barney, sorry.
Yeah, after promising that he wouldn't do that. You know, only for her heart to be broken again by the end of the film. But she's great. She's got some great one when she's talking about the labia reconstruction with the cleaner that she's had done.
Yes, was it Joshua calls it his wee pink butterfly. Wonderful. The cleaner made me laugh so much when Amanda walks in and just goes, lemon. And the cleaner goes, aye, the big fat one on how clean is your house swears by it. And it just fucking just instantly made me think of Kim Woodburn, R.I.P., which just made me laugh. Like, you know, to date this, spot on. Yeah, Michelle Gomez, we've covered a few times on the Swally. She's always just absolutely fucking great value. She could just chew up the scenery, but not overly. Like, she just is wonderful. The facial expressions, the physicality of this woman, absolutely fantastic. The way she could deliver a fucking F-bomb or a cunt is absolutely wonderful. And you believe that she assaulted her nemesis. That's why she's got the community service. And you believe she will go to town on Joshua now that she's found out that he's been ripping her off. A good dream sequence to start in terms of that, her nightmare, which Fred and Rose West are at her wedding, which was a lovely unexpected surprise and a welcome addition. But yeah, great character and has some absolutely wonderful lines, you know, speaking about Tommy Jordan, the tranny he'd have made for one ugly whore. And just absolutely, yeah, brilliant. That when Shaz gets up and asks what's going on and stuff, and she just says, oh, you've been off your tits, hen. It's just fucking wonderful.
The thing about, I mean, I used to quite like the Green Wing. Remember that? It's sort of this sort of surreal, and like, a lot of the humour in that was really, really surreal. But she was always so good at selling it because she can be really deadpan and and say really funny things without sort of maybe she does in rehearsals and maybe they've got to cut a couple of times without kind of cracking up, but it's the expression she can. I can imagine getting a right bollocking off her.
Oh yeah,
and really feeling like absolute dog shit afterwards.
Yeah, oh yeah, I can really feel her absolutely tearing a strip off you. She is your mum's pal that comes round for a glass of wine.
Yeah.
To fucking bitch about her husband and to bitch about somebody else. Yeah. But yeah, absolutely brilliant.
And she's and is licensed to give you a clip round the ear. If should you require one.
Yes, definitely. But yeah, it's had her heart burned before by Michael Fassbender, which it's again a tragic kind of tale, and then she's had her heart broken now by Joshua. But she'll get the better of him without a doubt.
And he can find his stuff in the spastic shop.
That was another one of my inappropriate lines. I mean, I don't think I need this section anymore. We've peppered most of them throughout the actual thing. I think I've only got a couple more to go.
And then our next character is Rona, played by Shauna Macdonald, who I think my favourite. She's my favourite in this. As brilliant as Shirley Henderson is. And I always thought she was absolutely brilliant in Filth with James McAvoy. Yeah. But she's sort of not in Filth enough. Whereas it's great to see her in this as one of the leads. And her character is Rona's quite tragic. How we find out that her boyfriend, who evidently was worth a few quid, or her husband, who was worth quite a lot of money, good job, nice guy and everything, was killed by joyriders, leaving her a lot of money, and she's spiraled into crack addiction. And I'd never thought that crack addiction would make me laugh as much as it does in this, but I mean, it's like her adventures on crack are amazing.
I have written down here, crack looks fucking great, doesn't it? Like, looks fucking ace in this. I also agree. I don't know why I find it so funny she's on crack. It's just so humorous. I think, also probably, I don't know, like I love Shirley Henderson so much, but I think Rona's character, I just kind of fell in love with in a way. I wanted to follow her on adventures and what she's getting up to, and she seems to come into some of the most random things, and she's just off on her crack adventures. Yeah. She has the most wonderful use of swearing. There's a couple of times, I think she's on the phone to the drug dealer and she hangs up and she says cunt. And it is just so beautifully and eloquently used in that way. And then, she tells the taxi driver, I think, to fuck off. And it's just so well done when she's off to go and buy a gun before she sniffs a dead dog's ashes. But yeah, absolutely amazing character, but then kind of Bobby Ewing'd in the end when it turns out that it's all her dream, the climax.
Yeah, I mean, I was sort of glad about it because so this film is available on YouTube outside of the UK. You might not be able to get it on YouTube if you're in the UK, but I think you can probably get it on the Channel 4 player. And I'm looking at the running time as we're getting towards the end, and I'm thinking, so they need to, what has Joshua done that's so bad that Amanda takes revenge by blowing his head off, and what has the priest done that's so bad, and what's this dead guy done? And you sort of gathered that, as the film goes on, well, that must be the driver that caused the accident that killed Kevin, Rona's late husband. And it's like maybe 5 or 6 minutes from the end. And I'm thinking, how the fuck are they going to wrap this up? And then I was terrified. I thought, well, is it a 2-parter? Is it like a 2 big long parter? And I've got to find the second half. And then, she appears and says, I had a dream where we, the 4 of us got a revenge. And it was kind of like, but I'm kind of, okay, well, I'm kind of glad about that because the first few minutes of the film with them rounding all these guys up, and it's done, there's a bit of a Tarantino influence in there, the bride, heavily armed, good use of No One Knows by Queens of the Stone Age, which is a great song, especially that bass solo.
So bizarre. I had not heard or thought about that song in so long.
Yeah.
I watched Wedding Bells and it was great playing. The next day I had on Apple Music and it was on a radio station.
Right.
And they fucking played Queens of the Stone Age, No One Knows. And I'm like, that's random. I haven't heard that song in a very long time and I've just heard it in 2 days.
Yeah.
And I've just been thinking, what a fucking great song that was.
Well, the first time I heard that song was actually in the garage. A bit of serendipity. But yeah, I mean, so you've got this sort of high concept sort of action-y beginning, and then, you know, as the film's going on, you're thinking, well, you know, what's going to happen that's going to cause, it's told in a non-linear way, what's going to happen that's going to cause this scene at the end, and then it's all a dream. Which, but normally it feels like a bit of a cop-out, that, but it was kind of fine, because I think the characters are so strong, and by the time the film's coming to an end, you're so invested in the four women, and then when you think about it, it's too unrealistic that, you know, given the rest of the story, that dream sequence, it makes sense that it's a dream because it's so at odds with the rest of the film.
Well, like at the end of the dream sequence at the beginning, and they shoot and they all fall into the river, I had written in my notes, right, how do they get away with this, or how are they expecting to get away with this?
Yeah.
So I presumed, obviously, then we're going to find out. And of course, yeah, it was similar. So when it was revealed it was a dream, there was a part of me, I was like, okay, yeah, no, I quite like that. That's, you know, that wraps everything up nicely, and okay, yeah, I was okay with it. Mm-hmm. It didn't spoil anything for me that I didn't get to see.
And then our last character of the four leads is Shaz, played by Kathleen McDermott. And again, I mean, she's just a brilliant character. The scene when she sets about Niall Horton in the bar with a broken telephone, you know, but she's dressed like a nun. You know, because he's been a bit rough with his wee mum. It's brilliant. And then the other three just end up get wading in as well. But not the other three, but Amanda and Kelly end up just wading in as well.
And of course, I love the fact that, you know, the mum's had the purse all along. And they've just booted the fuck about of him for no apparent reason. Apart from the fact he was just being a dick to his mum. Great character, Shaz. You kind of think in the beginning, okay, well, what's her story? But then you know, kind of goes in. The wonderful scene of she works in the old folks' home and she's obviously been selling Viagra to one of her patients. And again, it's an Irvine Welsh sex scene that's kind of written over the top. The old dear has got her feather boas on and her stockings and suspenders, expecting a good time. But yeah, pops her clothes.
Do you know who I thought that actress was at first? I thought it was the actress that played Supergran at first.
Oh, okay.
Because facially, there's a resemblance. I mean, obviously, it's not. I mean, it'd be fucking wild if it was.
No, it's not. I don't think I would have recognised the name, I'm sure. So, and then she has to, wank him off. Didn't expect that. And then I remembered it was by Irvine Welsh. I thought, oh, well, it's fair enough, actually. Great character. And it's funny that she's so ashamed that she's with the priest that she just makes up to the rest that, oh, he's blackmailing me. And you're like, how the fuck is she getting out of this now? And then I'm questioning myself, like, well, she does kill him, so is he blackmailing her? Is that what it is? Like, I was a bit uncertain at one point.
I think she's trying to protect him because, you know, as a priest, you're not allowed to. You're married to, you're not married to anybody. It's the nuns that are all married to Jesus, isn't it?
Yeah.
But, you know, it sort of risk his vocation if it got out that he was in a relationship. So I guess she's protecting him from getting his daughters of God. But it's just like when John Eddie's sitting in the common room in the old folks' home with like a massive stoner in his pajamas, he's taking all the Viagra that she gave him, says the one.
I love Shaz puts a newspaper over it, and it's the look when he removes it and then looks round at everyone proud of his stoner. It's wonderful. Just a silent little second, and it's just absolute chef's kiss fucking perfection. I love it. So good.
I mean, I was really surprised to see Michael Fassbender in this, because this is the same year that he did Steve McQueen's what's it called, The Hunger, about the hunger strikers in Northern Ireland. It's sort of loosely based on. But I think I've never seen it. I don't know if it's directly about Bobby Sands or if it's kind of based on him. But I mean, literally, this is the year that he becomes a fucking megastar.
Yeah,
you know, like he's got, it's like a really small part in this. Really, he's only got really one scene with Michelle Gomez, and then the wedding scene at the end. And then the same year, he's literally, I think he might have even been Oscar nominated, or maybe he won the Oscar for The Hunger. I can't remember, but
not sure.
I've never seen it. It's just a bit fucking too depressing, you know. I just too old for. I mean, I'd have lapped it up in my late teens, early 20s, but as a middle-aged man, it's just too depressing to watch somebody waste away for a cause.
I'll watch Masters of the Universe instead.
Just that'll cheer me up. I mean, that was pretty depressing as well in its own way, but yeah, I'm just that sort of hard-hitting social realism. Not always got to be in the right frame of mind for it. But then that, and then, you know, and then a year. Maybe the year after, he does Inglourious Bastards, and then he's in the X-Men films, and he's in that one with Keira Knightley where he has to smack her arse. I've not seen that either. I just know about it. It's some sexy film. And then he's fucking Michael Fassbender.
Shall we talk about his accent?
I've heard worse.
Oh, it's pretty fucking bad, I thought. I thought it was pretty awful.
I mean, it's not, I wouldn't say it's on the Jane Horrocks scale of terrible Scottish accents, or even the, what's her name that was in, I swear, Maxine Peake. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's not great, but I don't think it was too bad.
But his dance scene is phenomenal.
Yeah.
With his shiny red shoes, and you're thinking, what's going on here? And then he just pops out this dance scene, and you think, why not?
Yeah.
Like, I'm here for it. I fucking love the randomness of it, and yeah, why not? Great. Love it.
A bit of Northern Soul. Yeah. Another just like moment in this. So near the beginning of the film, Amanda's organised a saints and sinners fancy dress party to raise money, and Shirley Henderson's dressed up as a kind of sexy / Freddie Mercury in the some of his videos with the leather jacket and the leather peaked cap Nazi.
Yeah.
With a red armband and everything.
Well, it's Sinners, obviously. I love that there's no explanation.
No.
It's not mentioned. It's just, that's it. That's what she's decided to wear. And good on her. There's no need to question it or anything. That's just the way it is. It's a wonderful party. It's at the Leith Dockers Social Club, which, looks like a fucking cracking venue, I would say. Absolutely belter of a place. But yeah, I think there's nothing wrong with that outfit there for that night.
The Leith Dockers Club appears in a couple of Irvine Welsh books. I think the first time he mentions it is in Trainspotting, when Renton is detoxing at his mum and dad's, and they take him out. I'm sure it's the Dockers Club. They take him to play bingo and try and get him out and be normal again and all that. And there's a scene in Skag Boys as well, this Trainspotting prequel, when a young Renton, but it's sort of seen through the perspective of an old. Is it in? I think it is. It's sort of seen through the perspective of an old sort of merchant seaman who's spends all his day.
You're right.
Yeah, so it's definitely it's definitely somewhere that's important to him, because he does like to use it as a setting for a lot of his work.
And we have to talk obviously about Jamie Sives, who plays Gordon, a mental patient who takes a bit of a shine to Kelly and asks her out for dinner. She does mention him a couple of times, that he's there and he's in there because he got raped, but he's not a buffy. And she's at pains to say he's not a buffy. But he has to tell her what happened, and he reveals by showing her a news clip that he was raped by a dog.
On Princess Street.
On Princess Street. And the dog, I fucking love when he's mouthing along to the news article and about, oh, it's so fucking good. And about how, they didn't believe he could pull down my trousers and pants, like, but it's like...
Miller was arrested after a motorist and his girlfriend found a Staffordshire Bull Terrier having sex with him at the side of the road on Princes Street. Prosecutor Paul Rafferty said the couple had stopped to help because they thought Miller was being attacked by the animal. But when they got closer, they saw Miller had his trousers round his ankles, was down on all fours, and the dog was straddling him from behind.
Have you got it on tape, the rape?
It's such an unexpected, such a good scene that it's just wonderful. The absolute, like, how on earth, who comes up with this? That you got fucking raped by a dog. And it's when she hits him and she calls him a dirty dog shagging bastard. Absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. That was another one of the lines. But yeah, Jamie Sives, poor Gordon, just his sexual desire with dogs.
There's another actor who appears, not a Scottish actor, but another actor who is in this, in a few scenes, who I've always really liked. And I had been watching him because I watched this only got to watch this for the first time on Monday, but on Saturday night, my daughter and I watched Michael Winterbottom's 24-Hour Party People about Factory Records and Tony Wilson, and Sean Harris plays Ian Curtis, the ill-fated singer of Joy Division. And I've always liked him. He's but he's a really intense actor. And he brings a bit of that sort of trademark intensity to this role, as the honourable sort of manager and carer for these poor, distressed and disturbed and depressed people. And when he's telling her that the girl that she's given the haircut to had committed suicide, Shirley Henderson says, well, the haircut wasn't that bad.
So, where is she then?
Frances killed herself on Saturday night.
Jesus. How fucking bad was this haircut?
Oh, no worth doing yourself in over, eh?
She was a manic depressive.
Oh, thank God for that. I thought you were going to say it was a hairdo that sent her over the top.
Well, I don't think it helped.
I don't know how Sean Harris kept a straight face. And I know that, should not make fun of suicide. I mean, it's horrendous. But yeah, I mean, he's perfect in that role. And his first introduction to us on the screen, because he's got just one of those faces, and like I say, that intensity, Kelly assumes immediately that he must be one of the patients when he kind of bounds towards her to welcome her. And she's like, "Get away from me, you raj bastard," because she thinks that he's one of the people, one of the patients in the clinic. Yeah, I think it was like a really expert bit of casting of, which not really that important a role, really, but to get an actor of the sort of caliber of Sean Harris, who's been in some phenomenal dramas and films. I mean, he was the villain in a couple of Mission Impossible movies, wasn't he? Not the last one, but the two before, I think.
Yeah, I was surprised, obviously, to see him, but then you're right, the intensity that he brings to that character is quite unhinged in places.
Yeah.
And I was still convinced that maybe he was a patient.
Yeah.
He was pretending to be, an orderly. And of course, I thought maybe that was who Kelly was romancing before we obviously meet out the Gordon.
It's Gordon.
The Gordon, the dog bummer, getting bummed by dogs. Yeah, he's such an oddball character. And you're right, when Shirley Henderson does say about the haircut, it's the deadpan delivery. He does say, well, it didn't help.
Oh, yes, right.
And
oh, dear.
fucking brilliant. Push the poor lassie over the edge. Fucking, absolutely insane. What a shame. Lovely Claire Grogan popping up.
Yeah.
Getting her hair done by Amanda. Just random little cameo there from Claire Grogan. Delivering a built-in line as well about a vegetarian who's always eating toffee.
Yeah.
Can't be good for your teeth. Just give Claire Grogan this dad joke to fucking, because I don't want Claire Grogan to say cunt.
Yeah.
Or say anything about her pink butterfly, so we'll just get her to say this.
Yeah.
A shame. But yeah, lovely. It was a nice little treat. Didn't expect Grogers to pop up here.
Well, there's a lot of actors. I mean, we're going to be... I can see when we get to the Cosmo Awards, there's so many. There's so many sort of Swally stalwarts that it could go to. But one person who I don't think would be up for this award when we get to it, that I was really surprised to see, and it took me a minute or two to work out who she was Lynn McCallum, who plays Peggy in Still Game. Because I'm like, fucking, who is that? Who is it? And of course, like, I think Still Game's the kind of main thing that she's ever had a really big part in.
Yeah.
And even then, she's still a sort of background, not background, but a kind of secondary character. But I was really surprised to see her. I was like, oh, it's her. That's Lynn McCallum. There you go.
But it's funny, she does have just exactly that distinctive face that immediately I was like, oh, it's her. Still Game.
Yeah.
Fuck, what's the character's name? And I couldn't remember. I wrote down Winston's nemesis.
Yeah.
Because it does seem, there is kind of a couple of episodes where they have that.
The steak pie.
But yeah, the steak pie. But yeah, I did enjoy seeing her. And I guess we have Jonathan Lewis Owen as Joshua. He does a great job of acting guilty as fuck, but trying to be convincing when lying and failing miserably when he's denying stuff to Amanda. He's great. But there's one scene in particular with him that I just was like, oh, fuck, remember those days? It's when he's waiting for the post.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, oh, Jesus, remember that? You used to know what time the postman came every day.
Yeah.
And you'd be waiting for a letter, and if he didn't deliver it, well, maybe it'll come in the second post. And you kind of knew, it'll be tomorrow probably now. But then, just waiting. Oh, I miss those days. Like, they were fucking great days.
I haven't had a letter for years. Neither have. I haven't had a letter since I moved away from Scotland. I used to get my bank statements sent to my dad, but until I realised that I didn't need to get them sent by post anymore. There was an option to turn it off. Yeah. And then we find out why, of course, because he's hiding his betting shame from his fiancée. He's got himself in a pickle in the old gambling websites.
Shocking. Absolute shocking behaviour. Got himself stitched right up, and right enough she's going to throw him out, and as you said earlier, all this stuff will be in the spastic shop. Jesus. He wants them.
Because I think it might take longer than usual, is it time to put Wedding Bells through our Swally Awards?
Yeah, I think it probably is, Greg. I mean, the only other things I wanted to speak about was we've kind of spoken about the music, we've spoken about the Queens of the Stone Age, gossip standing away of control. We're in the pub, Mull Historical Society is playing, which I fucking enjoyed very, very much and thought that was good. The only other lines that I wanted to definitely point out that don't fit into any awards, I don't think, was I did like, I think it's Amanda, I think it's to Kelly, he's saying, well, we'll have a wee shifty about and see if there's any 18-year-old mental defectives fancy slipping you a line. I thought was good. But one of my favourite lines was, it's when, Christ, why am I blanking? It's when Rona goes to buy the gun and she snorted the dog thinking it was coke, and then she runs off to the toilet and the guy says, if it's a shite you're after, there's no bog paper. I haven't been to the Asda's yet, doll. I just love, I haven't been to the Asda's yet, doll.
So is his late dog supposed to be the dog that is...
Yes!
Yeah.
Yes.
I thought it was.
Yes. Unless there's two random dogs that have been bumming folk in Edinburgh. It's definitely his dog that attacked Gordon so callously. But yeah, that's me. So yeah, let's do it. What's the first award?
So the first award would usually be the Bobby the Barman Award for the best pub. I've got to be honest, I didn't really fancy going to any of the pubs that they show. I mean, there's the I think maybe it's just the Dockers Club, and there's the kind of function room in the bar. Neither of which were particularly appealing. Maybe when I was younger, I'd been up for it, but
yeah, the Dockers Club. I don't know. I mean, the old school tenant sign's fantastic.
Yeah.
I love that. But yeah, I don't know if how good a night it would be. I think I'd probably be quite scared or quite bored quite quickly.
Yeah, unless you just put Cotton Eye Joe in the jukebox 10 times in a row and then ran away.
Yeah. Could do that, actually. That would be a good idea.
Right, here's where we get into a bit of debate, because there's a lot of options. So the Cosmo Award. So there are 4 that I can name, and there's probably a few more beyond. So I'd written down Jamie Sives. I'd written down possibly Grogan. Rab Affleck is in it as a security guard right at the beginning. Tam Dean Byrne, he is the guy who's tending the grave, and Juliet Cadzo. And then Niall Horton is maybe in the mix a wee bit as well. Yeah. It's been quite a lot of stuff. It's a crazy amount. I mean, the biggest surprise of this film is that they didn't find the part for Cosmo himself.
I know. It is quite shocking. I wonder what Cosmo was up to that he wasn't involved in this in some way, shape, or form.
I think every Scottish actor with an equity card almost at the time is in this film.
Yeah.
Like Paul Ireland plays Splash. He's in it. He's been in something else that we've done to recognise his name. There's loads and loads.
I also had Shirley Henderson in this as well.
Exactly.
Because she has been in quite a few things. I mean, I guess it's Rab Affleck, but I wasn't going to count him as it's too much of a
blink and you'll miss it. Yeah.
Quick blink and you'll miss it role. So you could go with any of the above. I'd be quite happy. I mean, Jamie Sives is a good shout as well. He pops up in so much stuff.
So maybe just a group award for all those actors.
Yeah, we'll give a group award. We're being nice. Yeah, it's a group kind of ensemble show, so we'll go with an ensemble award.
Yes. Okay, so our next award then is the Jake McQuillan McCafferty Your Teasout Award for Unexpected Violence. Again, there's a couple of options. There's Shauna punching Kelly at the end in the nose, but just because I liked her style, I have to give it to the phone assault on Niall Horton for me. Did you have anything else?
I did have the aforementioned Kelly calling Gordon a dirty dog shagging bastard and smacking him.
Oh yeah.
But I think the phone assault probably wins because it's just purely comes out of absolutely nowhere, and it's warranted, I would say.
Yeah. The next award would be the Hugh McGregor Award for gratuitous nudity, but the gratuitous nudity is the one sort of gratuitous thing that we don't really get in Wedding Bells. So I'll go straight on then to another award that has a lot of options, the Francis Begbie Award for gratuitous bad language.
Oh, I mean, there's some absolute belters. What did you go for this?
Well, I had to go with Mandy describing how she kicked her nemesis's cunt in early on in the film. I think it's because it was so unexpected that there would be C-bombs flying left and right in this.
That's exactly what I went for.
Right.
It's because it's the unexpectedness of I kicked her cunt in proper. Shauna Macdonald, as I mentioned, has a couple that made me laugh when just a simple cunt. But yeah, that was the one for me. Amanda describing her nemesis Heidi Bremner and kicking her cunt in proper.
When we see her getting married at the end and she's got the wedding shoe club foot shoe. I mean, the big shoe. Oh, it was so funny. Next then is sort of archetypal Scottish moment. I mean, for me, there's some expressions, the one that we just described, which is very much a Scottish. Sadly, we kind of own that one. But for me, it's just the gallows humour. Yeah, because if I think about something like This Is England, which are from the movie to the TV series that they did, I mean, just phenomenal bit of drama. And there are some really funny moments. But even Shane Meadows doesn't push the gallows humour anywhere near as far as the script in Wedding Bells does. It really doesn't.
No, it doesn't. The one that kind of sums it for me, and I like this, and it's what I've given the award to, and it is kind of gallows humour in overall as well, but it's something that seems to me to be kind of inherently Scottish. And the example that I'll give it to is Kelly's just revealed to everyone she's got alopecia, and everyone's being nice to her, talking about extensions, and then Amanda calls her a wee baldy bastard. And it just, I think whenever there's sad news or something like that, exactly, there's a rally round, there's affection, there's sympathy, and then somebody always comes out with something that everyone just shatters everything. and everyone could kind of have an uncomfortable laugh, and then we move on. And, you know, your topic's been addressed. It's just fucking wonderful. But yeah, when she calls her a wee baldy bastard, so fucking good. Jeez.
I remember attempting a bit of that with my dad, and if it had been anybody else, I don't think I'd have got away with it. But when my dad was in the hospital and I went home, I was in his house by myself, and my dad always made a cup of tea in a teapot, like a stainless steel teapot. He never made it in the mug because he always liked to go back for a couple of refills, you know. And
Sure.
He'd been in the hospital, I guess, for a couple of weeks. Nobody had been in the house, so I found like half a teapot of tea, which it was rank. I didn't realise that tea would grow mould, but it does. So there you go. Yeah. So unfortunately, when I was there, we got the news that his condition was terminal. They couldn't do anything for him, and he wouldn't be able to move. So obviously we're all very upset, and I wasn't able to go and see him straight away because it was COVID, and I had to do the self-isolation and stuff. But so when I finally got to go and visit him, and when I got to see him in person, obviously, we had a few days to process the news. And I said, so do you think you'll be going back to your house in Cumbernauld? And he said, oh, no, I don't think so. I think I'll need to move in with your stepmom. I don't think I'll be able to live by myself. And I said, I feel a bit guilty throwing that last pot of tea away. It feels like we should have preserved it for posterity. And, he kind of, Jesus. Well, you know, I thought, and for a split second, I thought, I fucked it. But then he just started laughing, and I started laughing, and it just diffused the whole thing. But there's not many people that there's not too many people that you'd have to get away with that sort of thing with, and I think it's a very Scottish way of meeting tragedy with humour, gallows humour. I think it's just a sort of genetic way that we have to deal with things like grief and stress and all those things that we all have to run up against at some point in our lives. And I think that's why I enjoyed this so much, because there's so much of that type of humour in it. Yeah. You know, it's dealing with like it's dealing with addiction, it's dealing with bestiality, bizarrely, it's dealing with child abuse, it's dealing with drug abuse, you know. Yeah,
when you wrap it like that, it is a laugh a minute.
you know, like it's got no business being as funny as it is. But then, you know, Irvine Welsh's books deal with a lot of the same and other like desperate, difficult issues, and there's a lot of humour in every single book of his I've read, and I've read them all. Yeah.
So, very true.
Yeah.
Very true.
Then our last award, I've got a feeling I think we're going to be aligned here, but who do you think wins Wedding Bells?
I don't know if we will be aligned, because I am giving it to Shirley Henderson.
Yeah, me too. She's just, every scene she's in, she's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, the range of performance she gives, she's just great. I'm always excited to see her on screen. Not that I was disappointed to see any of them on screen. I think they're all fantastic. And I just think her performance stands out to be a little bit more. But, you know, it's funny, I really enjoyed Rona's character. Yeah. But then I enjoyed Amanda and I enjoyed Shaz. I enjoyed them all. Yeah, yeah. I'd love to see what they're up to. I'd love to have seen a sequel. I mean, who knows? Maybe, you know, down the line somewhere. But
I don't know, I mean,
you never know.
Kind of 19 years later, I don't know, maybe missed their chance to catch up with them. Yeah. But just like a great ensemble. And there's one scene in it that I meant to mention where I feel Irvine Welsh is maybe poking fun at his critics, and it's the scene with Miles Jupp and his wife having the dinner party, and they're talking about Scottish writers writing about stuff that you never see, and then Rona's accidentally wandered into their house and is sitting smoking crack in the box. It felt like maybe a little sort of up yours to perhaps some of his critics that I've maybe felt that his books are a bit unrealistic. And, you know, there is a high degree of fantasy in these stories for sure, but, you know, I think they start from quite an authentic place. They're coming from quite an authentic place, you know?
Yeah, I think so. Oh, very good.
Yep. So,
but yeah.
Yeah, so that was Wedding Bells. If you want to watch it, I'm pretty sure it's on the Channel 4 iPlayer if you're in the UK. If you're not in the UK, it is available on YouTube, and it's a good version, perfectly watchable. You might even find a copy of the DVD in the Spastic shop. Never thought I'd be saying the word spastic so much
I
in
know.
2026. Anyway.
Yeah. I don't like it.
No, I'm not that comfortable with it. It was a bit of a 1980s playground insult. Anyway, Wedding Bells was my choice, which means the needle turns back to you to choose what we're going to be watching for the next episode.
Thanks, Greg. Well, we're going back to 1998 for the next episode in a film I had completely forgotten existed until I saw a Reddit post about it, and then I remembered. So I'm looking forward to discussing with you. There are tales of this film, of the main star being seen round Easter House during filming, trying to buy heroin and a gun. So we'll be discussing that on the next episode. So starring Charles Sheen, as he is in this film, not Charlie Sheen.
Wow.
You know, it's Charles Sheen in this. We're looking at the 1998 film, but don't worry, Greg, it also stars Swally favourites Gary Lewis, Stephen McCall, and Dave Anderson. And it is available on YouTube, and the film is called Post Mortem.
I've never seen it. You seen it before?
I watched it yesterday.
Right, okay.
Just to check it wasn't totally awful.
Right.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to speaking about
okay,
it.
cool.
There's a lot to discuss. Like, because I wanted to check it wasn't like a total, what was that, like the Samuel L. Jackson, John Hannah type
yes,
one.
yes.
Yeah. Which was good, but it was okay. But there's a lot for us to discuss in this film.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a good episode. So if you want to get ahead of the game, Post-Mortem, it is available on YouTube. Watch that for the next episode of The Swally.
Did you ever think when we had the idea of doing a podcast about Scottish films and television that we'd be watching something with Charlie Sheen in it?
No, I really didn't. I never thought. I just did never envisioned Charlie Sheen. There's been a lot that we've covered that there's been random surprise names. I wonder, why am I giving myself work? I did think about, I could put together a list of like the best surprise, one-off like Robert Duvall and Charlie Sheen and Samuel L. Jackson.
And your man in Restless Natives that was in Superman, whose name I can't remember, is also in Deliverance. Ned Beatty.
Oh yeah, Ned Beatty. Yeah. Lots of random.
He got bummed in Deliverance. A lot of bumming goes to his
A lot of bumming and a lot of spastic. Yeah. Okay.
This episode of the Culture Swally was brought to you by.
If you'd like to complain, cultureswally@gmail.com. You can also give us anything you've seen in the news about bumming.
When you're there.
We'll cover anything you'd like us to cover on the pod. Or if you just want to say hello, give us a little rating, review, subscription. Maybe not this episode, but wherever you get your podcast. No, it's been a good one. And Greg, we have a wonderful website as well, don't we?
Indeed we do. You can find us at cultureswally.com. Links to other episodes and some articles and blog posts about Scottish film and television.
Wonderful. Right, well, you're off on your holidays, aren't you, Greg? So that's why I gave you a Charlie Sheen film to watch.
I'm off to Bucharest. I'm off to Romania actually. I'll be in Bucharest for a few days, and then we'll be in the mountains, Transylvania, getting some fresh air about ourselves. We're going to see Vlad the Impaler's castle, which is now called Dracula's castle. We're going to go up there and have a look at that as well. I'm going to have the voice of the Count from Sesame Street in my head at all times when we're there. The whole time, my inner monologue will be the Count. So,
wonderful. Well, you have a great time. And look forward to hearing about it. I want to go Canadian there. I'll be looking forward to hearing all about it on the next episode of The Swally.
Well,
all right, buddy. Till next time.
Until next time.
Yeah, there's nothing I can't do with here, eh? Have you looking better than me?
Aye, that'll be about.
You wee baldy bastard, you'll be fine. I know.